Oh, right. Hello, hello,
Okay.
hello.
Hello, Madeline Clowns Town. What are we calling you, everybody?
Madeline Clown's Town.
Hello,
Madeline
fellow
Clowns.
neighbors. Kingsley Wynn and Nyla are back after taking a week hiatus because of computer problems. Even though technically we recorded an episode, it just didn't want to upload. For anybody listening, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever it is, you whatever is your tea, we also do the same thing, video. You can see that on Spotify. You can also see our video on YouTube. After seeing Madeline Klein wait forever at the St. James 52 intersection, she was waiting for that light to turn green so she could turn right for forever. It took so long that she was like, maybe I should cut through this little side path and get over to the road that I'm trying to go to. And by the time she was like, you know what, fine, let me do it, she cuts over and then the light turns green. So now she's got to wait for the line she was originally in to pass before she can go. It's ridiculous. The intersection
Ridiculous.
is ridiculous. Madeline Klein, a weekly update. What's the Southern Belle Queen up to? The Outer Banks season 3 trailer just dropped.
Oh, it was so good. Can I even talk about it? I was gasping. I was like, it looks so good.
So
you know, her and Chase are fighting. I keep seeing videos of them fighting on set. Like she's like running away from him, all dramatic, because he like keeps following her around.
Is that like for the show or in real life?
No, in real life. It'll be like they cut the like scene or whatever, and then she'll be like walking away and he's like chasing her, trying to talk to her.
Chase Stokes, which is such like a doesn't that name remind you of like a Bratz love interest?
Yeah, he is. He even looks like it. And he's so
like
old.
Surfer Boy. Oh yeah, he is older than her by a couple years, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like disgustingly older, or is it like
I think he's like 30 or he's like 27. He's like old.
All right. Speaking
He must be 20.
age,
He must be 28 now.
Mm-hmm. That's not that bad because she's like a year older than us. So she's like 24, 25.
Yeah, but still.
No, that's not disgusting at all.
No, it's fine. I didn't
28 and 25?
I didn't say disgusting. I said questionable.
Questionable. I don't think it 3
Just him being around all those kids. I know his mentality way different. That means you're almost 30.
All those kids.
They are kids in my brain. I don't know.
I cannot remember how old any of them are. I know that is our friend, not friend, is Mariah still dating homegirl from Outer Banks? Why can't I remember her name all of a sudden?
Madison Bailey? I think
Madison Bailey. Yeah.
I don't know. I can tell you.
Another little 6 degrees of separation. A girl who went to high school with us is dating the girl who plays Key in Outer Banks.
But good for her, I guess.
It's also crazy because they look so similar when they're like next to each other. Like I never would have like picked that out and been like, oh, she kind of looks like someone I went to school together. But to see both of them like in like the same TikTok or something, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like, is that like, because like, like that's like a thing where people, where it's like you're attracted to people you look like.
Brothers are dating. Siblings are dating. You never seen that?
Well, that's a new can of worms. That's something entirely different than what I was trying to talk to you about just now.
Oh, but like, I'm saying like it's because they look so similar.
Right. I get how your brain connected it, but incest is a leap.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's the meme of siblings are dating.
Siblings are dating. I've seen it.
But they're dating, so it's fine. I mean, they're dating and not siblings, so it's fine.
Right.
Exactly. Anyways, this is not an Outer Banks podcast. It's a Skins podcast. Skins UK.
Skins UK, right? Are we gonna? You don't want to talk about the 1 season American adaptation of Skins?
I haven't seen it, so I can tell you.
I haven't seen it either. I don't even know where you could see it if you wanted to.
That's
the whole thing about like lost media, like with all of the stuff getting deleted off of HBO Max, and like that was like the only place that media was on. So it's like there's just lost media now. It's like the only way you can get it is if you steal it, which is like,
which I'm not stealing.
Somebody deserves
the American
money,
version.
But still, like someone deserves money for like the thought and effort that they put into that. So it kind of sucks that there's no like wasteland for things that streaming services don't want to deal with anymore.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about Skins American. I can't even imagine. The accents are like really what makes the show. It's like watching Love Island in the United States. I won't do that. I want to hear their accents.
Skins
Love
is
Island
so
UK only.
insane.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that our generation watched Skins?
Oh no. Me, you, and Sarah are the only people I know that have watched Skins.
Yeah. Like I know that there are a few articles right now that are like Gen Z's reviving Skins, but it's like no, it's just people like Effie on like Tumblr and TikTok.
And Cassie and Effie are like the TikTok girlies.
Everybody loves the skinny bobblehead white girls. Yeah, that's they're never going to go out of style. Is really what it is.
It really is. But like, let's talk about Effie. We have to start.
Let's talk about Skins in general. Skins in general.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cool. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody wants to just jump to their favorite little white girl. We've got to establish something.
I just love her. I just love Kaya.
Got to set the tone.
Okay. What is Skins about? Skins is like Euphoria before Euphoria. Like the cinematography, it was a whole
Euphoria
vibe.
is 100% Skins Sun. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's essentially what they're doing. It's just a bunch of high schoolers fucking around, doing drugs, having sex.
Right. And sort of the same format of like each episode is about a specific character.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Skins walked so Euphoria could run.
Absolutely. Even the season finale of Euphoria season 1, where she ends up like singing, that was the exact same thing as the Skins finale of season 1, where they all end up singing.
I haven't even thought about that. Do you think he just watched Skins and was like,
I mean, we already talked I know we didn't get to publish it, but we already talked about how Euphoria, Sam Levinson it's just everywhere. You can see every single influence he ever had. And it verges on stealing, which is what we also talked about in the unreleased Euphoria episode. Like it's uncannily similar. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, that's essentially. What else? Do you have anything to add about what Skins about?
It's also, I mean, it is British. A lot of people who are famous now got their start on Skins. So Nicholas Hoult, who's in The Great, Daniel Kaluuya, who is everywhere because he's amazing, Dev Patel. Oh, also, and Daniel Kaluuya even wrote a couple episodes, which I didn't know.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
I just found that when I was like looking stuff up for this episode. He wrote Zhao's season 2 episode, which like stuck out so well in my head whenever I first watched it, like as a kid, because that's the one where she's like dealing with like abortion rights and like family, and she's even sort of like doing like premeditative grief. Like there's like a lot thematically going on in that episode, and I remember being like touched by it, like as like a 16-year-old watching something I shouldn't have watched. And so that's so cool to see that. I was like, oh, so he's like good. Like not only a great actor, he's a phenomenal writer too.
I'm not surprised just because how good he is.
Yeah, he's amazing. The kids on that show were amazing. Like I can't think of a single bad performance.
Oh, okay. Performance is different. Okay. Yeah, true.
Bad characters, absolutely. Yeah. Bad performances, no, I don't think so. Even like the villains were very like sympathetic. You could definitely feel for them. Which is another thing, because Skins, if we're still going like sort of bigger to smaller ideas until we get to Effie, the main character, the initial main character of Skins is sort of like the antagonist. Like, we meet Tony, and he's like I don't even want to say anti-hero because you're not rooting for him. Like you don't hope that he wins.
Tony's the worst, but like I love Tony.
I love Nicholas Hoult. Yeah.
I love Nicholas Hoult. But Tony towards the end of the show though, he like has that whole
he grows
arc. But how they're doing again, Euphoria, how they're doing with Nate Jacobs.
But that's the thing. Tony was never that bad.
Tony was the first Nate Jacobs.
If
he wasn't that bad.
Yeah, Tony was not nearly as bad as Nate Jacobs. Like, I mean, I don't think Tony ever like sexually assaulted anybody, did he? Not that I remember.
No,
he definitely
he wasn't that bad. He was just a menace.
Yeah, he sexually exploited Maxie at some point.
I can't believe that.
He like cheated. He kind of effed around on people, but I don't think he ever like did anything without a person's consent. He was just very, very messy. which
Messy.
like, yeah. So like Skins, and then I remember it took me forever to realize that Skins is what they call like the rolling paper in England, or
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, I didn't know that.
So they're
And then,
splits.
yeah, spliffs. I also really liked like Tony's the main character, but also like the whole friend group is like the main character almost. It's
Yeah.
like the protagonist is a clique, which I thought was very cool. That's something
Mm-hmm.
that I want to see more of, but I don't think they're inventive enough for that. I don't think
They're not.
that the
Skins
television landscape,
set the landscape, set everything,
Mhm.
and
It
then
was
no one
so
picked it up.
innovative. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, people have picked it up, but they're just like copying it, which is why I think the
Yeah.
American version didn't do well. Like you've got to like change some aspect of it and make it new and fresh. They're just,
Yeah, because we've already seen it. Like, I don't
yeah.
want to. That's how I feel about a lot of shows now and movies. Like, I feel like I'm watching the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I want something new. I want to
Yeah.
be intrigued.
Skins was so good. I shouldn't have been watching it though.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I think Skins was created by like a father and son. Like
Oh,
I think the dad was already sort of in television. The son was like, teen stuff sucks right now, and I bet I could write a better one. So they like linked up together. They wrote something. Apparently, the son had like a novel manuscript that he never finished, and that was about the character Sid, Tony, and Michelle, the three of them together. Never finished it, but turned it into the show, and that's how Skins was born.
oh, two of the worst characters. But that's fine. That's great.
That's another thing. So, is it safe to say that your favorite character is Effie?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Or Tony. I love the Stonums.
Yeah, let's go in order. Generation 1. To be like introduced into the world of Skins was so jarring. I completely understood the opening scene, which was so iconic, of like
I know. I
it's
literally
just a
put an
group phone
iconic
call.
first intro scene.
Yeah, that's like such a good like meet the protagonist of like you like sort of getting a glimpse into all of their lives, and Tony like on a group call with all of them and like messing up and like calling Jal Nips and then having like switch over. Like that was so Mean Girls of him.
He he is Mean Girls. Like he likes to act like he's not, but he's such a mean girl, and he's just so funny though.
He really
And
is.
that's why I enjoy him. He brings so much comic relief for me, and in the most problematic way. Like he doesn't bring anything really to the plot, but like he's just so chaotic that I'm like, Tony.
Yeah, but I remember you saying that same thing about Nate, where you were like, he's evil, but he's so evil that it's funny. And
Yeah,
so, like, you end up
exactly.
laughing.
I was cackling. I can't, not even for an episode, but I was cackling at some of those Nate Jacobs scenes. Like, oh my God, why is he like that? When he's yelling at Cassie in the bathroom, I can't even believe it. One of my favorite scenes of Tony is when he goes to that college or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's
And
all
he meets
like,
that girl, but he doesn't meet the girl.
Yeah, his hallucination or whatever. That scene is so funny. That whole series of events. I was like, Tony, you're an icon.
I think the reason why I never why Skins felt almost like a fantasy for me was just because of the parental involvement was so strange. I can't even say that it wasn't there, because it was there, but only in damaging ways. Like, I want to say like the only character that you get to see have a good relationship with their parents is Jal.
Yeah, Jal, and then kind of Minnie in Gen 3.
Oh gosh, I can't even remember anything about their family in Gen 3 except for like Grace. And Grace is my favorite.
Oh, I do love Grace.
The characters. But
Grace is.
But yeah, like the way that their parents would sort of just come in and out of their lives, I was like, okay, so are these people like, are they adults or are they teenagers? I was like, because it didn't make sense to me for parents to have that relationship with a kid.
And they all look so old in the show. So it's hard,
which is insane, because I'm
tell.
pretty sure they were like age appropriate casting. I'm pretty sure they were all like 17, which is how.
But they all look so old. I remember Chris. I was like, why do you look so old?
Oh, my thing with Chris was there's one scene, I can't remember if it's after he gets sick or not, but just his lips are so chapped that it's like
it's probably after he gets sick. That whole scenario was so sad and unnecessary. I'm gonna be honest, but I guess they have to one death every season. I guess, or every generation.
Yeah, another thing with Skins, they kill somebody off every generation, which a generation is every 2 seasons.
No, that does not make sense. They always choose the wrong character. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Let's talk about a major death. Let's talk about Freddy. Can we?
We're still on generation 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to like.
Yeah, right. Because obviously everybody has their favorite generation, and yours is quite obviously 2.
No, mine is quite obviously 1, but
really interesting.
yeah,
because you love talking about 2. You love 2. You love Effie. You love Cook and Freddy. You loved that whole dynamic. And then Effie's couple episodes at the end. So I always
that's how. Okay, Gen 1 again. Okay, talking about Effie. Okay, she's the final girl. She had 2 generations based on her. So like, you have to at least admit she's an icon at the very least.
Which like
even if you don't like Effie, she's an icon.
I'm sort of like so about Effie. It's not that I dislike her, but I also don't really I don't feel a strong attachment to her either. I think that she was like one of the first teenage characters who, I don't want to say realistically, but at least more realistically than we'd seen in the past, deal with her depression. Like, I remember whenever The Edge of 17 came out, that film, that was the first time I ever saw a teenager say like, oh no, I've got to take my antidepressant, so I've got to wait until those kick in before I can do something. Like, and that was very moving to me growing up, of like, oh, so like it's possible to deal with this and still go about your life. Not that Effie did that necessarily, but she was still one of the first like teenage characters I've ever seen who was like, I have a mental illness and I'm trying not to let it define everything about my life.
But I did hate how they did her mental illness in some aspects, because they were like being real. But I guess, I mean, that is the case for some people, like to that extreme, but they did make it a little.
Yeah, they definitely like dramatized the hell out of it.
Literally a Tumblr girlie's worst nightmare, because she is. She gave them a run for her money.
She was the first Tumblr girl. I also have to say, I have to do a plug, and you're going to be annoyed with me. In terms of like realism, Euphoria is at like, if Euphoria is like 3rd place, Skins is probably 2nd place, just because. I don't know. What would you say? Would you still align it? Would you align it that way?
That would I say Skins is above?
More, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Well, just because, one, I feel like, not to talk about UK laws, but like I feel like the stuff they were doing made more sense for them to be in the UK, because like they can drink younger, they can do all this stuff younger, blah blah blah. But also, I feel like the stuff they were doing, they were still like sneaking around. Like in Euphoria, they just be doing everything in the open. Yeah. And like,
it's also like Euphoria doesn't really do plots about how the kids get drugs. Like, we only see Rue get drugs, and that's like horrifying. But obviously it's not that horrifying, otherwise kids wouldn't be doing drugs.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like with Skins, it's more like how we were doing things. So it felt more realistic to us. In Euphoria, we watch it and we're like,
Yeah. They also have like fun in Skins. Like, if doing drugs was like it was in Euphoria, I don't think kids would do drugs again.
No.
Like, no. I mean, which I get is the point. I think Euphoria is trying to like say like, hey kids, don't do drugs, because look what will happen to you. But like, I think it's more, and I say this as a person who didn't even do drugs growing up, but I was around people who did drugs a lot, and it was more like Skins, where it's like, let's do this, and then let's go to the park and let's just like walk around town.
Exactly.
And just, like,
that's how I feel.
Little party.
And I feel like Skins was a lot of them doing nothing, like them just chilling at someone's house, them just talking, which makes a lot more sense. I feel like Euphoria, like they're always doing something, like something is always going on in the plot.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Skins as well is that a lot of the scenes are like after parties. Like, I probably am like overestimating that, actually, because now that I think about it, there are a lot of party scenes. But I think like Euphoria, you stay with them throughout the party, and then, you know, the party ends and it just cuts to a new scene. But I really liked with Skins, like, they're having the parties at their houses, and so after the party like ends, they're like, I've got to clean all of this up, man. Like,
they show the mundane scenes as well in Skins, and I feel like Euphoria does not. Like, it's all action all the time.
Right. And that just makes it more grounded. And then I said that was second. I think first, in terms of realism, which you're going to be annoyed with me, is Scum. Scum is I never saw it. It's essentially the same thing, but instead of having an episode dedicated to our character, they do whole seasons dedicated to one character in the friend group.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
It's very, very fun. And it's very like it's definitely, you can see how each show inspired the other one. So like whenever Skins came out, I remember like seeing that they did a promo thing on MySpace. So like they like made MySpace pages for all of the characters.
Oh,
So,
that's
like,
kind of fun.
Yeah, so SCOM was like sort of like a step up from that, and where they like made like, I don't want to say Facebook necessarily, but they made like profiles for all of the characters, and you got to see like the text that they would get on their phone. And like if a character got a text that said like, hey, like, can we meet up tonight at like 5 p.m.? Then like at 5 p.m. that night, they would drop like a part of the episode. That way you could see like what that conversation was. It was
that's
very,
really
very
fun.
Yeah, and like media heavy, and they like incorporated like WhatsApp messages and YouTube and all of this really cool stuff. And it went like international. So there's like a SCOM for like Norwegian kids. There's a SCOM for American kids. A SCOM for like Spanish kids. It was really cool.
That's very cool. Do you watch the Norwegian one, or?
I've watched literally all of them. They're so good. Not the French
No,
one.
I
I didn't really like the French one, but they're so good. And also, if you're thinking about like learning languages, anybody listening, it's a great way to like learn languages.
Yeah, no, you're
just,
right.
Like, watch one season of SCOM and then turn off the captions and just watch like the same season, but like in a different country. It's like the same plot line, and now you get to learn new words. Every episode is supposed to be dedicated to one like specific character, but Maxie and Anwar never get their own episodes.
Yeah, and I love them too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish, like, I don't care about people that I don't care about, which is fine. But like them two, I like really enjoyed. So
yeah, their dynamic was really fun, and of course, everybody loves Dev Patel. Like he's so like handsome, and like in this character specifically, he's so like goofy and like charming and cute.
Mm-hmm.
And like he never gets his own episode. In fact, whenever they do the second season of Generation 1, they give his episode to Sketch. Who wanted that?
Who's Sketch?
Exactly. Who's Sketch? Try to remember who that is. Try to remember. Give it your all.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
She's literally Maxie's stalker.
Oh.
She's a random girl who goes to their school. Was not in the friend group at all during season 1.
I wonder why they did that. Writer's fault.
Yeah. In my head, it's just like, why don't you want to give... Like, I just feel like it's very specific. So, like, you don't give Anwar his own episode. You don't give Maxie his own episode. And, of course, Anwar is Asian, and then Maxie is gay. Mm-hmm. Jal gets her own episode, thankfully. But, you know.
Exactly. But you know.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I don't know why. I feel like they didn't. I feel like Anwar and Maxie didn't get as much screen time as they should.
No, they didn't. I wanted even like a plot line about Tony and Maxie, and they didn't get their own episode. Yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah,
I was about to say the only time Maxie really like gets anything is with Tony, and it's in like a awful way.
Yeah, it's like they don't really know how to write the characters who are minorities exactly,
or in like the LGBT community, because even with, we'll talk about Generation 2. What about Generation 2?
They get better with the second generation, but it's like they definitely get
yes
better.
And no. Yes and no. Because sometimes the girlies be annoying me so bad. So bad.
Their stories aren't necessarily good, but they're an improvement from season 1 in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Generation 2.
Yeah. With Generation 2, you can tell that they were more about their business. Like Generation 2, they were like, let's actually try to show these kids going to class. Like, I feel like with Generation 1, we like never saw them in class. We saw them in school, but we saw them like goofing off in the cafeteria and like and like smoking between breaks, or like Tony messing with the choir girls. We didn't see them like actually like studying or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So like Generation 2, it felt more realistic. Like I was saying, like Generation 1, it felt almost like a fantasy, because it's like these kids are never in class. Their parents are coming in and out of their lives and giving them like rent money and stuff. But like Generation 2 was more realistic in that regard.
Oh no. Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially with like, who is it, Pandora I'm thinking about? That was like real into school and like studying stuff like that. I feel like that was very realistic.
I know you want to talk about Effie, so let's really get into Effie.
Okay, this is our icon season. Icon. Anyways, so Is this when like shit hits the fan for Effie? Because when does Freddy die? Season 2 or season 4?
They kill
right?
everybody in the
Which,
second season of A Generation. So every
let me talk about that.
even season, someone's going to die.
Let me talk about that first. I don't even want to talk about Effie. I want to talk about Freddy and how they wronged my man so badly. So badly. Why was that even a plot line? Like, I do not understand. I don't understand. Like, if they would have killed Freddy, fine. But like the way they killed Freddy with that weird ass doctor man. And then when they had Cook come to his house and beat him with that bat. What?
Oh, isn't there like a moment where he like hears Freddy's ghost?
Yeah.
That was insane.
That whole when he's in his house and stuff like that, I was like,
yeah, he like sees like, I want to say it's like Freddy's like bloody shoes or something in the doctor's office, and he hears Freddy say like leave or like get out, and that's horrifying. Why would you put that in there?
Horrifying. I love Freddy,
and they don't even
show. Like they must have had something in his contract, or like something must have happened because the way they like kill him and then never address it again.
Well, the way that they kill every character is weird, except for the first time they do it.
Well, yeah. Well, because I feel like with Chris, I don't think it was that like out of the blue. Like he got sick and then he was, but also he got sick really fast, and then it was like a few episodes in that he passed away.
With Chris, it was sort of like a retcon. They were like he got sick, and also this is the same illness that like killed his brother, and his brother dying is why his parents are so weird to him all the time. So it's like, oh, okay, so this is why Chris's parents have been so weird this entire show. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah.
But like with Freddy, like out of nowhere, that he was like, oh, I'm obsessed with your girlfriend. You gotta like what? That doesn't, and then like I feel like they never talk about it after that Cook scene of him like going into his house. I feel like they've never addressed it again. That Freddy's gone. Or like anything.
I have to be honest, I've never finished A Generation after 1. I only finished Generation 1.
Kingsley.
Because I literally couldn't stand it. Like so I know we were thinking, you said Generation 1 is your favorite. Generation 3 is my favorite, and I think that it's the worst season.
It is the worst season. It's beyond the worst season. It's absolutely horrific.
Generation 3 was my absolute favorite generation, but I don't know.
Like Gen 2, I don't care about Katie and Emily. I don't care about Naomi. I don't care about Thomas. I don't care about Pandora. I only care about Effie, Cook, and not JJ, and Freddy. And then Freddy dies. So then I only care about Effie and Cook because I hate Sid. But I do have a friend, Sarah. We can bleep out her name, who said she would have liked Sid in high school. And then I cackled. Like Sid is the type of guy she would have went for in high school. And I said,
ugh. Good luck to her.
I said, that's so nasty.
Good luck to the high school her.
I know. I was cackling. I was like, that speaks so much on your character personally. I was like, that just speaks volumes because Freddy would have been my type in high school. I was obsessed with Freddy. Like Sid.
I think Jal would have been my type in high school. Absolutely. So either I was a Jal or I was trying to date a Jal. And then definitely Grace in Generation 3. Yeah. And what's her boyfriend's name? Al? Rich was also my type. Generation 2. JJ. I kind of like JJ.
I like JJ.
And then Thomas as well. I really liked Thomas too, even though he was messing around by the end. But I felt like that was out of character. I feel like my Thomas wouldn't have done that.
My Thomas wouldn't have done that.
I feel like every time Thomas did something unlikable, I was like, that's not really in character for him. But that was just me projecting because I liked him so much.
No, yeah. I really liked Freddy. Cook is not my type, but damn did I love him. I loved him so much for no reason. He was horrible. He was a bad guy.
Their Generation 2, I feel like doesn't have like any redeemable character.
Don't save him. You don't want to be saved. That was Cook. So bad.
Like, I mean, the twins, Katie and Emily.
I didn't mind Katie, and I did like my Naomi, and I was very sad for her when she got sick.
Because she cheated the second season. That was the whole
thing. Naomi did?
Yeah. She cheated on her with some girl, and the girl ended up literally committing K-word herself. And Naomi is still like lying about it. It's like, girl, this is getting serious. Like, you need
Oh,
to answer
God.
some questions.
Why don't I remember any of that? I just remember her getting sick. And then in my head, maybe because I didn't care about them, that I was just like, well,
Mhm. Yeah, but
well.
like that's one of the many reasons why I never finished Generation 2, because it was like getting too much. It was like
No, I
it was like
definitely
this was
finished it.
supposed to
I just
be
don't
like
remember.
this was supposed to be an easy show about like the trauma of like growing up and drugs and different influences. I was like, why is there like a murder mystery plot cheating storyline going on right now? I was like, I don't need all of this, so I never finished that one.
It wasn't that good. I can tell you what happens at the end of season 4. I literally can
Exactly.
tell you what the final scene is. No idea. I know the final scene. Well, do I know the final scene of season 2? Perhaps not. But that's not the question. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. My overall thoughts on season 2. I said pretty good. Not as good as Gen 1, but mid.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty mid. Good in the beginning and got progressively worse. Like season 4 really was tragic.
Right. I still think season 1 was the best season of the show.
Oh, yeah. And the ending, when they sing that song, that was
followed
so
closely,
good.
and you're not going to agree with me, followed closely by season 5.
Season 5. I don't remember the end of season 5.
The
wreck.
Minnie and Frankie kiss in like the last episode. And then they do, and Gracie and Rich try to get married and they don't get through with it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love Gracie. And Rich.
Which is a great segue into Generation 3, my favorite. I love Generation 3. Here's the thing: the how every generation gets 2 seasons. Generation 3's second season, horrible. I've never finished it. Again, I've only ever finished 1.
I just rewatched it.
They literally changed the characters so much, and it's like, why?
I know. Let's talk about Frankie. I really liked Frankie in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Frankie was so cool.
And then they like 360 her with the boys. Why'd they do that?
They introduced Frankie as sort of this like gender non-conforming character who's like new in school and like kind of like has like an arc where they're getting bullied a lot. And then the next season, it completely goes away. She's like a really girly girl, and she's starting a bunch of like romance drama with all of the men in the friend group. And it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I wish she would have gotten with Minnie, but I guess they were planning for Minnie and Aloe, which I like too. I like Minnie and Aloe.
Yeah, Minnie was just a very charming character, and she had a really nice arc Minnie as well. She like starts off like that's one of like those how everybody hates those like bullies to lovers tropes, and for good reason. But that one, if they had like had them end up together, that would have been a really good one.
Yeah,
like I feel like Minnie and Frankie really like no.
Oh well, Frankie is from The Golden Compass, and it's one of my favorite childhood films. I just wanted to mention that because I was watching it the other day. Well, I was watching Skins the other day, and I saw Frankie, and I was like, "Why do I know her?" And because I was talking about how I maybe just hate the actress of Frankie, but I was like, "No, I don't think that's true." And then I realized that she's the main girl from The Golden Compass, which you should watch. It's amazing. A plug. But yeah, she does so good in there. She slays.
I'll look into it.
Yeah,
I know Minnie. The actress from Minnie is in the show called Industry right now on HBO.
Oh,
I know people on Twitter really like it, and that it's very similar to Succession, but with like Gen Z actors, I guess.
Oh.
I tried watching it. To be fair, I'm still trying to watch it, but it's not nearly as like you don't stick with it. It's not like something that keeps you in.
Yeah. So, that's how I feel about a lot of shows now, though. I finished Partner Track. Irrelevant.
You don't finish stuff now.
I don't. Well, because nothing keeps my attention. Like I either like binge it and then I'm done with it. Like The Great. Like I binged The Great and then I was done with it. But like unless it keeps my attention, I ain't watching it. I got time. I don't got time to waste.
Which is also I can't remember his name, but one of the Gen 3 actors is also in The Great with Nick Holt.
Maddie.
Yeah. Which is another reason why I like Gen 3. It had more people of color in it.
I love Maddie. Oh, I love Maddie. I hate his character, but I love whoever plays Maddie, Leo, whoever.
He's very cute. He's a cutie.
Oh, he's so cute, and I love him. Hate his brother. His brother is annoying.
All of the male characters in all of Skins are very frustrating.
Rich was really good. Rich was a good guy.
That's true. Rich and Aloe were fine.
He did hallucinate having sex with Grace, but that is not his fault because she died. That's not his fault. He didn't know.
I didn't think that was like a bad thing. I thought that was more of a grief thing.
Yeah, he was just grieving, and so it's fine.
It's essentially like his fiance died.
Yeah,
and like his friends, and his friends killed her.
Horrible. And then they just forgave Maddie. I said, how?
I mean, if that's what you wanted to do,
how and why? How and what? Like, I'm sorry, but if my friend wrecked a car
and then
jumped out and left us,
yeah, because that's really what got me.
You ain't getting back on it. It would not even be a question. The whole like end of season, what is it, 5 or
6? Whatever. Yeah.
The whole end of season 6 is Frankie being like, I don't know who I love more, Nick or Maddie. I was like, how do you love Maddie? He killed your friend that you're crying about, that you just hallucinated about 5 seconds ago. What?
Right. Because for anybody listening, the entire like sort of they sort of start grouping the seasons by like one overall plot. So like season 4 had that weird murder mystery thing. Season 6 is a car accident happens with the friend group. And one of the friends, Gracie, she dies in the car accident. Mm-hmm. And the driver, who is their friend, he like leaves them. And they're in like a foreign country. They're on a different continent. They live in the UK. They're visiting Morocco. They're like having like a friend like vacation. They're in a car and they get in an accident and he leaves. He's like driving like recklessly, trying to like race, and then crashes. He gets out and he sees them. He turns, he sees like his friend bloody and like needing help. And he's just like, that's scary. I'm gonna leave.
Bye. Literally leaves. I don't understand. I don't know why. And then to make him a love interest.
Which like they had hinted at that before, yeah, but it was still like,
yeah, in the woods.
I don't want him now.
No, like before it was fine, but now he's a murderer.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess in old Skins fashion, it really doesn't matter what you do because everyone gets redemption.
But you know what? I always used to like yell at these television shows and movies where these girls are dating these horrible men. But I mean, it's realistic. Unfortunately,
it is realistic. Oh my God, it is realistic, and it makes me so depressed, especially these younger girls, because like, girl, we just not know better. We just be doing whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe this happened."
Yeah, I mean, it's just so the amount of times you'll be like, "Girl, why are you doing this?" And she'll be like, "Because I love him."
Don't save her. You don't want to be saved.
It's like, baby girl, let's get you some therapy. It does not have to be this way.
Why can't you accept the party is over? Like, get your ass in the car. That's how I feel.
Which
it's
like
so.
Yeah, it's insane. The very last,
but it's so realistic.
It is, unfortunately. The very last season of Skins, season 7, is a compilation of essentially like 3 movies told in 2 parts. They take sort of like the favorite characters, not of each generation, because in general, a lot of people don't like Generation 3. So they took 2 fan favorites from Generation 2 and then a fan favorite from Generation 1. And they sort of did like a Where Are They Now type story for each of them. And that sort of, if Skins is supposed to be about like young adulthood, the last season is supposed to be about new adulthood and like becoming like a person in like your 20s, like in your mid 20s at least, which very fun. I wish more things did that. They usually like skip over university, college years, which I usually hate, but I really liked the way that Skins handled it. Except, I must say again, I didn't watch Cooks. I've never finished a generation after.
It was really good. I don't remember it now, but I remember really enjoying it. Sarah also said she didn't really like Cooks. Because it doesn't end happily. And I think people were upset with that. But I mean,
if we're
going to speak... The only one that does is Cassie's.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like the only Skins character in the entire like show who gets a canonical happy ending is Cassie. And even her ending, it's not like a happily ever after. It's more, it's just happy because she personally is no longer suffering. It's just because she has found a way to feel better about herself, which was really good. It was a great story
arc. Episode.
But it's not like, she won $1 million and, about to live the life of her dreams or anything.
Yeah. But Effie's love.
I
Her
love
so good. Her acting
I
is so good.
I love the production of Effie's. Effie's
No,
episode was so gorgeous, like cinematography wise. We've got to put some like clips of that episode in here. It was just beautiful. I can still remember like the way that different lights were appearing like in her apartment and whatnot. That just like sort of made me like gasp. Like it's just a beautiful, beautiful movie / season.
It was beautiful. I thought they were all filmed really well, but yeah, Effie's was filmed like really pretty. And just the whole premise of it was really good because it didn't end how I thought it was going to end, and I just really enjoyed it. And I just love Effie, and I'm glad they did her character not justice, but like I don't know, like she kind of because Effie, like I feel like her whole childhood she's just doing whatever the fuck she wanted, and like never had consequences for that. So I'm kind of glad
that's really true. Yeah, they finally make her face consequences for actions,
which is kind of it's very full circle for her. I feel so. I did like that.
And there was also a thing about her character where they said, you know, like she would get into like the craziest trouble, but then she would give you like this little Effie smile that made you sort of think like, was she planning this the entire time? And like in the end of her movie, she's literally being sent to jail and she's like in the back of like a cop car and she gives the camera that same smile. So it's like, she'll be fine.
Like, she'll be fine. That's why I wasn't even worried about her. Whatever. She good. She's gonna run that jail, I guess. Go good for you, girl. Go piss, girl.
Go piss, girl. It's like, okay. So series wide, what would you say are some of your favorite scenes from Skins? Because there are a lot of good ones.
Like I said, the musical, it's always my favorite. It's my absolute favorite scene. When he gets hit by the bus, the scene is so good. That whole I like when Max is in that play because I like seeing Maxie act. I really like the aloe scene where he like makes the barn up for. You didn't finish season 6, did you? There's a scene where Aloe and Minnie are together or whatever, and he makes up this barn for her for them to live in, and it's really sweet and cute and I love that scene. What else did I like? I don't think. I don't know. Those are my scenes.
That reminds me. I was looking into it again. The creator of the series said that he probably thought that Tony and Michelle were still together and that they were living together in an apartment in London. And that whenever Effie season, her last movie starts, they've just moved out of that apartment. Tony and Michelle are still together. And that's why they give the apartment to Naomi and Effie. So that's just cute.
Oh, interesting. That's cute. Tony and Michelle don't make sense to me, though.
They don't. But I was like, it's realistic that they would stay together, though. So I was like, I'll give them that. There are also a few scenes where that I don't think were in the actual show, but of Effie sort of talking to Tony off camera and being like, leave him alone. Like, no, don't do anything to him. Talking about like Cook. So I thought that was very funny that like canonically Tony is in the background of Generation 2 trying to beat up his little sister's boyfriends. God, the genders that I just switched. But still.
That's fine. That is fun. I do like, I do wish they would have introduced like, because doesn't Cassie also talk about Sid in her episode?
Yeah, like, she has like one line a little bit where she says like, because the end of Generation 1 is Cassie leaving the friend group to go to America and Sid follows her and it's sort of left unambiguous about if he finds her in America or not. And then in Cassie's movie, she says like, no, he did find me and we were together for a while, but she says something along the lines of like, if I didn't end it, we would have just ended up together for the rest of our lives. And she was like, and I didn't want to do that. So I guess like she wasn't ready to like settle down and get married and whatnot.
Which I mean, to Sid, shit, I wouldn't either.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm assuming that like Sid got his act together.
You think?
I think that's his entire like arc in the second season of his generation is like he starts pulling himself together at least a little bit.
I also love the scene where Katsy's like, "Oh, didn't you hear? Sid and Michelle are fucking." I think it's so funny. Oh, didn't you know? And everyone's like, "Oh, gasp."
Gosh, I'm trying to think of my favorite scenes. Oh, I absolutely love the scene of Chris's funeral when they steal his casket. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world, just how they like frame it. It's I want to say it's like Chris's dad and maybe like his uncle or something are like in the living room sort of talking like, yeah, we'll really miss him. And he was a good kid. And like in the background through the window, you can see Sid and Tony are like arguing as they try to like jack this casket out of the back. They like try to get the casket out of the hearse. And I think at one point, I don't think that they like drop him, but I think like he gets too heavy and they have to like set the body down on the floor. And then they're like, okay, whew, and they pick it back up and like strap it on top of their car.
It was so crazy. And I was like, though. I did like that scene.
It was so funny. I think, what else is another scene? Of course, the opening scene is very, very good.
Oh, yeah. Very iconic.
Yeah. The first episode is just amazing. The ending of Anwar getting out to pee and then the car goes into the water. I thought that was so funny. It's also like imagine like hanging out with your friends, you turn around to like use the bathroom, and when you turn back, everything is gone. Like that's a horror movie plot that they played for comedy for a 2 second.
It was funny, but it was funny.
It was very funny. But if that episode had been titled like Anwar, that would have been a horror episode. Like, I'm a young man of color hanging out with a bunch of white kids, and I turn for a second, and every single one of them has disappeared. It's like, oh God, how am I going to answer for this?
Overall, Skins 10 on 10. No, not 10 on 10.
Mm-hmm.
Rewind.
Right. Because there are several negative aspects of Skins as well that we sort of haven't dug too deep into.
Skins a 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically.
And why is that?
Because it is a good show. It was very entertaining, but there is a lot of like the shit they were saying sometimes. So questionable, so wrong. Like they were just fucking sometimes not good. And like plot lines sometimes didn't make sense. And also like if it's a show that like you love as well and you didn't even finish the last 2 generations, like I finished them because I binged everything and loved the show in high school. But like you also loved the show and didn't finish them. So that says something as well.
I love the show. I love the characters, but the storylines were getting so like...
Yeah, all over the place. They're just not good. It's not well written in some parts.
Well, it's more of like... And I feel like they did it with every generation where they start and they're like, we want to tell a very realistic story that's sort of like cinema verte. I probably pronounced that wrong. Of like young people growing up in a big city. And then the second season of every generation is like, what if someone dies?
Yeah, exactly.
What if we kill someone and we make it a plot to figure out how they died, what happened? And it's like, why are we changing genres? Like, just stick with like this coming of age story.
I know. I feel like they tried to make it deeper than it needed to be. Like, this could have been a fun, silly show. But like y'all added all these aspects, and especially with like Generation 3, like I was so sick of Frankie's whole situation by the end of it that I was like, I cannot watch this. It was getting so much. Like every single episode was about the same thing, and I'm like, okay, I get it, but like y'all could have done more. Like, did y'all just give up, or what? You know,
like yes. I think also one thing that frustrated me about Skins is that they established a lot of storylines that I wanted to see, but then never really followed through with them. So I really wanted more with like Anwar. Like, again, like, why didn't he get his own episode? It's implied that he has a good relationship with his family and that his family is like, it feels like Anwar's struggle isn't really even like an internal struggle. It's more of like, I have a conservative family and my friends are like insane. And I'm like a mixture of the two, but I want to find a way to make my family like my friends and my friends like my family. And that's something that's really relatable just to me. And I really want it. And I'm sure like a lot of kids would relate to that too. Like we all have like friends whose parents don't like us or like we have friends that our parents don't like. And then we of course have to like deal with that as like a middleman. And that would have been a really interesting plot to see on a show like Skins that deals so much with like realism and would have shown it in a way that was both funny and dramatic, but they never really go too deep into it. They only have like a scene of like Anwar's dad sort of just like hugging Maxie, and the implication is like, he's fine with you being gay. And that's it. It was like,
Yeah,
well,
they definitely had a lot of things they could have went into and chose not to. Like, I also think like with Minnie's pregnancy, they could have went more into like that because they kind of just like made it like, oh, this is so easy. This is da-da-da. Like, I know they sent her to the hostel and stuff like that, like to be on her own and stuff, but they only do that for an episode. So I feel like they could have like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of things kids could have related to more and they never dove into, or like me as a viewer just would have wanted to see instead of what they actually showed me, you know?
Yeah. I don't think that society reacted well to it, but I still think that they did a good job with Cassie's anorexia storyline. I mean, I'm not a person who struggled with anorexia specifically, but just, I mean, I don't want to be like, everybody has problems with like eating necessarily, because that's not necessarily true. But a lot of teen girls, at least, have trouble with like
relate to some degree.
Like, calorie counting and whatnot. And so like watching her scenes, I was like, oh, like there's not necessarily representation, but it was just shocking to see like, oh, this is a person who does stuff that I've done before. And like, I can totally like see myself in her. So that just made her way more empathetic.
I think society took it well at the time, but I think now that Cassie's like resurfacing on like TikTok, I think it's not going well because I think people are more like romanticizing Cassie in a way.
Right. But that's like the thing. I don't think that they ever took it well. I think they always romanticized Cassie and Effie.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I didn't. Oh, Effie definitely. Effie definitely.
Always but like Cassie, black and white gifs of them like smoking and like not eating and talking about like throwing up and hurting themselves and whatnot. And it's like, geez, that's not a good thing. No. Like they weren't, that wasn't good that they were doing that.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. I agree. You're right.
I also, I'm just so mad about, what is it, season 6? Generation 3 was my favorite. That would have been so good. Why. It's so good.
Generation or season 5 is really good.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Very good. Oh,
because I loved the characters that they introduced us to. So, like, regardless of how they changed throughout the story, it's like, I mean, so I can't even say I hate where they ended up, just because from what I've read, even though I didn't finish watching it, like the ends of their stories seem pretty okay. But yeah, I just hated the storyline at the end. Right. But I loved what they started with.
Yeah.
Like I love their initial storylines. It's so good, so good. And it was so relatable. I saw so much of myself in those kids. Because I mean, I could not see myself at all in like Generation 2. Definitely not at all in Generation 2. And then in Generation 1, I related a lot to Jal, obviously, because she's like this musician artist who's like very studious, and she's like, I understand that all of my friends want to do drugs and party, but I am trying to get an A on my test, and that is my first priority. So I felt very like she was me. She was my representation.
She just like me for real.
She just like me for real. And then whenever she would go home and her dad would be like, why do you hang out with these stupid white kids? and she would just be like, I'm just doing my homework. Like I loved everything about her character. I thought she was so cute and so fun. But Generation 2, I did not relate to a single one of those bitches. I think maybe that's why it's like one of my least favorite. It is my least favorite generation.
No, Gen 3 is my least favorite. But just because like the whole season 6.
It ruined everything about their characters, yeah.
But I also kind of feel that way about Gen 2, about season 4. So I don't really know. But Generation 1 was definitely my favorite.
Generation 1 is definitely the best written, especially because like if you don't, because I mean you're starting the show, so you don't know, and maybe the writers don't know either, that they kill a person off every generation. So like seeing the storyline with like Chris passing away, and also his romance with Jal at the end, and like his friendship growing with Cassie as well. I didn't expect that at all. And that was like such a beautiful storyline of like him getting an apartment with Cassie, and like Cassie like discovering like her bisexuality and stuff. Like that was really fun. And it was very innovative. Skins was just a very innovative show. And I loved it.
I agree.
It was very good.
I definitely agree. It was innovative. It was ahead of its time. Skins walked. So Euphoria, good run.
Skins walked, so a lot of these teen shows could. I'd
Yeah.
say that teen shows have been trying to copy what Skins gave since Skins went off the air.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I agree.
they're all trying to like capture like teenage drug use and like teen mental illness, and yet none of them are doing it with the same finesse.
They're not.
And why not? Let's figure this out as we close. As we close for the next town hall meeting. What is it that Skins had that today's teen shows are lacking?
Well, I guess I don't know. Okay, let's think of teen shows that are on right now. Euphoria. That's the only one I can really think about, though.
But
That's
it's
like
also
on
like
the same.
Euphoria isn't for kids. Was Skins for kids? I have no idea. What was like the content rating on that? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because either way, kids were watching it.
Well, what did Skins come on? I guess it came on.
I think it came on like Channel 4, which is like, I think that's like the UK version of like ABC.
Oh, so it would have been like The Fosters or like stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So like kids definitely had access to it. And I feel like it's definitely harder for kids to have access to Euphoria, but it's still possible.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it's more so like they were diving into more serious issues maybe and like not doing them in a cliche way as much.
Yeah. If anything, I want to say Skins started a lot of cliches.
Yeah. So maybe that's why. Maybe because they're the starting point. They are, what is this saying? They have a blueprint.
Yeah, they're the blueprint. They're so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't want to say so good. It was like, I mean, it was good, but it was also very bad. Like watching Skins, like today as an adult, I can't physically do it. Like I turn it on and I just feel horrible. Like it gets like a physical reaction from me where I feel.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, these kids are just.
Yeah. Like I feel depressed. It genuinely makes me feel like, and I don't mean sad. I mean, I feel like I have depression, unmedicated depression again when I watch that show. There's just something about like the grimy way that it's filmed, like it's some like indie art house type thing. And you're watching these kids be like belittled and ignored by every adult in their lives. And so they're turning to these like drugs and they're dealing with like homelessness even.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary. It's like sad and God forbid it be relatable, but of course it is because that's why it was so big in the early 2000s. Love the show. Don't watch it.
Love the show. Can't recommend. This is
not recommend it at all. As opposed to Euphoria, where I'm like, I don't love the show and I also don't recommend it, but I watched it every week.
Oh, I love the show and I don't recommend though. So something, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. Like, what are the shows for like kids?
I don't know. I don't know what the teens are watching. I have no idea.
Is there anything for teens? I'm like drawing a blank. Outer Banks, Heartstopper, On My Block, Elite, Fate, Winx Saga. Did I already say 13 Reasons Why?
Mm-mm.
Well, that. Titans and High School Musical, the musical, the series. Never Have I Ever. And that's about it.
Most of those just aren't like going as deep into things.
Right. These are like genre shows. Yeah. There's no like show dedicated to just watching kids grow up right now, really. Like the 90s definitely had a good like coming of age show. There was like One Tree Hill, The OC, Dawson's Creek. I don't know why.
Maybe coming of age shows just aren't like in right now. Maybe like their time is up.
Right. But I always hate it whenever like we say stuff like that because I feel like that's very like the people who decide what's in right now are people who are not us, you know?
Sure.
Like
I'm just saying maybe it's not.
Right. It's just annoying. It's like the public should decide. The people want what the people want. It's like whenever people like trend on Twitter because they're like, I've never seen a sex scene that I thought was necessary in film. And people are like, you guys are being such purists and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, they are. But also the people want what they want. If the people don't want to watch two pieces of bread smash against each other for like a 5-minute montage, then don't force them to watch that. They don't want to see it. All right. So Madeline Klein is not going to be able to watch any teen shows right now, except for her own. I mean, Outer Banks. It's genre, but it's great. So until the next town hall meeting, We're Madeline Klein's neighbors, Kingsley One and Nyla. And you can watch us on our YouTube channel or on Spotify. You can listen to us on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts
all the
from.
things.
We're on them.
You see ya.
Bye.